Hello and welcome to my channel. Vice Rhino here, Cirrus over there. Cirrus, how you doing tonight? Cirrus? Cirrus? You okay over there, Cirrus? Is he... Cirrus? What? What? I'm sure he's fine. So yeah, I guess Cirrus is gonna be a little quiet this stream. He appears to be he's his weight loss journey seems to have been a massive success. Hi, how's everybody doing? The real Cirrus is okay, but he needed the week off, so
Hello.
So I am streaming to all 4 channels, but it is just me tonight. Thank you to whoever that was that just there we go. The Morbid Palace just resubscribed for 6 months, making 7 months total. Thank you for that. Jassa says free uwu points. Absolutely. I am happy to let you all accumulate points to make Cirrus say uwu. So yeah, just me. And sent my partner out for booze for the stream tonight, and she came back with some Snoop Dogg in a wine bottle from a winery called 19 Criminals. And the best part about this is that just the other day, I watched a Lindsay Ellis video where she was making a joke out of drinking Snoop Dogg from a wine bottle. I think it was the Death of the Author one. I don't remember. But yeah, there was a video that Lindsay Ellis had where she was drinking Snoop Dogg. I was like, oh, I didn't know that there was a Snoop Dogg wine. And then my partner came home with it. Because I have the best partner ever. And I just spilled red wine all over these pants that my partner got for me. Yay. I thought about taking the pants off and doing the stream bottomless, because it's friggin' hot in here right now. That would have been a smart choice. Oh well. It is what it is. Let's see how the Snoop Dogg is. Pouring over here so I can't spill on myself. Please tell me those were red pants, because red wine is extremely hard to get out. Yeah, no, they're green pants. I don't know how this is going to work. Do I need a sippy cup? Yes, well, no, I don't need a sippy cup. It's not the cup that's the problem. It's the wine bottle, because I opened it and it went... But, yeah, brown now. Yeah, they're brown now, but not because of the wine. I'm sorry. See, what does Snoop Dogg taste like? You know what? Tastes like cheap, gimmicky wine. Which is fine. They clearly added a bunch of sugar to it or something to make it palatable, so... Sweet and salty balls. Oh no, sweat and salty balls. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so... Do I need a sippy bottle? Yes, yes. Get me one of those. There's the aerators that you can get that you stuff in the top of the bottle, and it's just a cup, so you can drink straight out of the bottle, and it aerates the wine as you drink it. Is little known fact. Well, maybe not little known fact, but what I didn't know. I just saw Silence of the Lambs for the first time the other day, and you know when Hannibal Lecter goes, it's right after he talks about having his liver with a nice Chianti. And before I worked in wineries, I didn't understand why. I thought that was him just trying to be creepy, which, yeah, it was him trying to be creepy. But that's actually a thing in wine tasting circles, is you take a little sip of the wine. And I'm not going to do it because whatever, but you like aerate it in your mouth and it like makes the slurping sound like he was doing. So Baby Duck level red. Not quite. I used to work for the company that made Baby Duck. That was where I got most of my fine dining experience and fine wine experience, believe it or not. Yeah, that was that was a fun time. I actually liked that job. That was a good job. Yeah. Morbid Palace says that noise is so annoying. Yeah, I know. I know. I can barely tolerate my own mouth noises when I'm eating, and I like tried desperately to keep it to a minimum, but like because bone conduction is a thing. It just, the sound travels up the bone and I can hear myself chewing and it's gross and it drives me nuts. And then when we have a family dinner with our 5 children, 2 of whom are young enough that telling them to close their lips while they chew is a suggestion more than a rule because they just haven't figured out how to do that yet. Dinner's a sensory nightmare at my house. There's been more than one occasion where I've actually like left the table and finished my dinner in the office because everybody's just being too loud and it's gross. And then they have the audacity to, like, you're watching a TV show and when a character takes a bite out of something and they add those noises in that I know wouldn't have been picked up on the microphone on set. And I hate it. And there needs to be a moratorium on that. It needs to stop. Because I can see on the show that the character's eating. I don't need to hear it as well. The sounds travel through where? Your jawbone as you're chewing it. The sounds travel through your jawbone. Like that's what you can get bone conduction headphones that like they don't sit on your ear. They like rest right here or like right here, and it plays the sounds into your bone, which then conducts it into your ear. And so it's a little bit easier to listen to stuff without like damaging your eardrums or something. But then it's slightly less private. There's more sound bleed with that. Not a big fan of Denethor then. Okay. Oop, we got 2 things happening. Ah, what is going on with my thingies? Oh, that's what's going on. There we go. Not a big fan of Denethor then, says the nefarious name of Doom. No, however, in that scene I think it was okay because they were trying to make you uncomfortable. They wanted you to feel squeamish and ugh as he was doing that. So like in that specific context, it worked. And like there, of course, is the trope of like, what's the easiest way to make one of your characters an asshole in a movie? Have them eating an apple, because apples are loud and obnoxious. And that works too. I can forgive, as long as it's just like the one bite and you can tell they're being obnoxious and then it goes away. It doesn't like keep on going. Like if you've listened to the Sandman audiobooks, I actually had to skip scenes where they were like describing meals because like it's one of those like fully acted out and with sound effects and everything audiobooks, and it's fantastic. But anytime they're like in a pub eating and drinking, they make all of the mouth noises to let you know with ambiance that they're in a pub eating and drinking. Why they can't just go with like the gentle din of conversation in the background, I don't know. But they decided to go with noises that drive a good chunk of the population nuts. So, yeah. Anyway,
well,
Rosina, pre-Yiddish math tutor Keller says, my dream about you wasn't sexual. Heidi was there. Heidi being there doesn't make it not sexual. I will take your word for it that it wasn't sexual, but just saying, we know how to party. Anyway, starting with, as always, news items we don't cover. Saris, you planning on speaking up for any of this? You gonna comment? Because it's a spicy news cycle this time. No? Okay. You just sit there. So yeah. News that we're not going to cover. Trump at McDonald's. Yeah, so Trump went to McDonald's, made one basket of fries, dished it out, handed it to someone. And then like a day later, it was announced that there was an E. coli outbreak that was linked to McDonald's Big Macs, which I know it was a different McDonald's because like he did it in Pennsylvania and the McDonald's with the outbreak was in Georgia, but like I feel like that's related. It can't like Fennec is asking E. coli or Listeria. I read that it was E. coli, but I read that in a tweet, so take that with a grain of salt for your fries. But yeah, so Trump went to McDonald's, he worked a thing, and then he commented on how easy it was to work there, which I would really love to see him work a dinner shift at McDonald's, like actually have to work the dinner shift. And then there was like a kerfuffle. Like there's a kerfuffle happening where like people are acting as it like, oh, the liberals are accusing him of staging that. You're like, well, did anyone think that it wasn't staged? Like, does a major political candidate for the president of the United States ever go to just a restaurant where it's not a staged event? Like, no, of course it was staged. That's not the problem with it. Like, oh, I should probably turn my light on. Hey, you can see me better now. Still can't see Cirrus, so he's just in his dark corner. You awake yet, Cirrus? Okay. Yeah, but like, of course it was staged. Like, there was press at the drive-thru ready to talk to him. Like, that's... How would it not be staged? How, in what world would that not be staged? Yeah, Duct Tape Jake says they work very hard, but they don't deserve an increase in pay. Yeah, that's what I mean. I want to see him, like, he did that to show that, like, oh, he's better than Kamala because Kamala hasn't worked at McDonald's, even though she says she has. And, you know, so him being able to make one basket of fries is clearly the same as, like, working a busy dinner shift on the fucking drive-through window or whatever. Redeeming a hydrate. I have my water this time. And I don't normally put ice in it, but it is hot today, so I put ice in it today. Oh yeah. Fennec. Oh, was that you that sent that to me? Someone tagged me in a tweet that I did not save, but like it was the picture of him looking all grumpy in his McDonald's apron, and the caption was like, "This is the look of a man who has finally seen how the sausage is made." Yeah. I'm also not going to cover Trump saying that he needs generals like Hitler. I mean, everybody's talking about it. And yeah, he was like, yeah, I want generals like Hitler who will just follow my orders and do as I say. And a bunch of military people, like generals and stuff, were like, yeah, he doesn't understand the military culture. He just wants sycophants that'll do his bidding without question. But like, no, you're actually not supposed to like follow illegal orders and shit. And yeah, they're playing it down. Like, I think JD Vance's response to that was to basically say like, oh, it's, you know, he's not saying that he's really going to do that. He was just speaking from the heart with regards to him saying he's going to use the military on the enemies from within. You're like, okay, I don't understand how you think that him speaking from the heart when talking about using the military against civilians in the United States makes it better.
Oh, whoa.
It's like, yeah, it really is in his heart to use the military against civilians in the States. That makes it better somehow. Like, what? I'm sorry? How does that work? To not defame McDonald's, I must clarify the E. coli was found in the onions used on the Quarter Pounder, not the Big Mac. Okay. Sure. Oh, we got a hat redeemed from Sean Helfin. And new hat. It's my flower hat. I'm a beautiful flower, but oh no, I just realized that I stuck my head in a flower's genitals. My head is now in a flower's genitals. So there we go. Yeah. So yeah, he wants generals like Hitler so he can, you know, do his dictator thing. But where did you get the flower hat? This is part of my partner's Halloween costume. I believe it came from Amazon, but I'm not sure. Is that an old Disney Fairies hat? You know what? I could see this being a, what's her name? Rosalina? Rosa something. Now I gotta Google the fairies. Disney fairies names. Rosetta. It's Rosetta. So, yeah. Bees do that all the time. Yeah, bees are the best at oral sex. It's literally their main job in this world. According to BMI, Cirrus is still fat as fuck. As long as you have a skeletal system, you're a chonker. Oh, yeah, you're not entirely wrong. I'm also not going to mention, I don't remember if we covered this last week. I don't remember when it happened. So maybe we did cover it last week and I'm forgetting. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. But yeah, Trump did a rally in Coachella and left a bunch of his followers just stranded in the desert because there were supposed to be buses back to the parking lot, and there weren't. He didn't pay the bus company, and they were like, fuck that, and they went home. So, wasn't McDonald's the origin of that dastardly slogan, if you have time to lean, you have time to clean? I don't know. If they are, then I fucking hate them, because, like, there have been times when I've been working and I have just finished cleaning all the windows and I put the stuff away, and then I take like 1 second to like lean over a little bit to rest. And it was like, this is one of the place where this happened was a place where, for a time in the winter, in the slow season, the person who was doing the schedule decided that the best way to do the schedule for the slow season, you only need one server on per meal. So like one server for breakfast, one for lunch, one for dinner. She decided that the best way to do that was, instead of like having a rotation with like different servers coming in multiple times per day and everybody works like 5 days a week still, but they're short shifts, everybody just works like 1 or 2 days a week, and it's a 14-hour shift where you well, could be 14-hour shift if you got customers at dinner time, but like if you didn't, it'd be like no, it'd be 14, because you'd have to be there at 6 in the morning, and then the dining room didn't close until 9, so that's actually 15-hour shifts. And yeah, so no, that long of a shift isn't illegal. I think technically it counts as overtime if you hit a certain number of hours in a day, even if you don't hit the 40 hours in the week. Customers, don't you mean guests? Yeah, guests. But yeah, so, but oftentimes you'd go for the whole 15-hour shift, and you might have like 1 or 2 guests for the whole day, and they could happen at breakfast. You've got nothing to do for the entire day. So like, what do? You got time to lean, you got time to clean. Okay, mop the floors, sweep the floors, clean the windows, clean the counters, everything spotless. There have been times like I got through making everything spotless, just finished cleaning the windows, put the window cleaning supplies away, and just like take 2 seconds to like lean over, and that's when the manager walks in and says, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean, scrub the windows. Like, but I just cleaned the fucking window. Like, why? You are like, this is busy work for the sake of busy work. You can see the window is clean. Like, what difference does it make if I clean it? Like, if I'm doing work that doesn't need doing versus just relaxing for a bit, it's the same to the business. Why does it matter to you whether I'm actively cleaning or taking a moment to myself? Like, yeah, it was okay, everybody's in the chat arguing over like labor laws. Labor laws vary greatly. Oh, that was what I was supposed to get. We just remembered what I was supposed to get at Walmart. And then what she was supposed to get at Walmart when she was there. Oh, so the time to lean, time to clean is from Ray Kroc. Yeah, I know who Ray Kroc is. Asshole. But yeah, so that was fun when you'd work from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and not have any customers the whole day, and have managers who are insisting that you find something to do for that entire time. Yeah, infuriating. I'm also not going to cover... There's a man who... This is one where, like, the headline was hilarious, but the actual meat of the story is kind of boring. So, And the headline is that man steals $122 million from Facebook and Google simply by sending them random bills, which they paid. And made him work for 69,420 hours straight. Indeed. Yeah, so funny headline where it's like, okay, don't press charges. That's great. Go for it. But when you actually look into it, he like set up this elaborate thing where he was like actually like impersonating people from other companies that Google and Facebook regularly do order from, and like fabricating like email chains to make things look more legit, and like making the invoices look like they came from the company, and like there was identity theft going on there. There was like there's layers to this that make it like, you know, if I just send a bill to Facebook that's like invoice Vice Rhino for services rendered or whatever, pay me $10 million, and they pay me, yeah, that's technically illegal, but that's like a nothing crime where like they could have just not paid an invoice knowing that they hadn't bought that service. And like, so for that, it'd just be like, okay, fine, leave him be. Nobody got hurt. It's fine, whatever. But this guy actually like legit did some pretty serious crimes in the process. It's not as fun as the headlines make it sound, but I still like the headlines, so I had to share that. Did I hear that Trump did not pay for a funeral for a fallen soldier because she was Mexican when he has for others in the past, and said it shouldn't cost no. So I did hear this one. It wasn't $6,000 to bury a Mexican. It was $60,000 to bury a Mexican. So you're off by a zero. But yes, I did hear about that one. Yeah, that one was sent to me by someone that was in the same Atlantic article as the one where they were talking about him wanting generals like Hitler. So, yeah. Pretty gross. And also, I'm not going to get into the details about, oh, that was Progress Only that sent me that one. So thank you for that. Funerals are not cheap. It's a stupid fact. I mean, they can be done fairly inexpensively. You have to, it can be hard to navigate, and if you're not prepared in advance, it's a difficult thing. But like I think that, like there's a book or an article or something that like you can get the basics for like $900. But like funeral directors and those types of businesses are kind of like, it's kind of apparently the YouTube channel Ask a Mortician has videos about budget funerals. Yeah, so those businesses, it's kind of like the wedding industry, where they are incentivized to make you feel like you have to spend money on extra stuff in order to honor the memory of this dead person. Like, why do you need to embalm someone? You're burying them. You're not going to dig them back up and be like, oh, I hope they look good when I dig them up. And on top of that, like, they're hermetically sealing the casket and encasing it in concrete and stuff. Like, no, you don't need to embalm them. You don't need to seal it in concrete. You don't need to hermetically seal it. When Mrs. Rhino died, we did a green funeral, which I think total cost was about $10,000. But it's like literally just like a pine box that is not treated lumber. Put them in it, bury it, and let nature take its course. What kind of funeral is allowed can depend on your state. Yep, absolutely. I want to be tree food when I die, or donated to science. Throw my body in one of those swamps to see how long it takes to decompose. That's what I want. Yeah, embalming chemicals are toxic and carcinogenic. Yep, there's no need for that. No need for that. Our culture is so weird about death. I don't know if I got to this one yet, but I'm also not talking about how Tim Ballard is being sued for human trafficking now. If you're not familiar with Tim Ballard, he's the guy that the movie Sound of Freedom is based on. He set up the organization that supposedly fights human trafficking, but the way that they fought it was they would like go to places where they suspected human trafficking was happening, and they would say, hey, I would like to buy some children, please. So we're going to meet at this hotel.
I got 5.
What?
I got 5.
You got 5 what?
Children.
5 children? Oh yeah, we got 5 children. She's trying to sell her children to Tim Ballard. No, I wouldn't sell my kids to Tim Ballard. Jeez, sell them as slaves first. That would be mean, selling them to Tim Ballard. Yeah, no, so he his organization was supposed to fight human trafficking, and the way he did that was by like going to places and asking to buy children, and then be like, oh, meet me at this hotel if you have children for me to buy, which would then result in these people going out and kidnapping children for him to buy, which he would then rescue. Children that wouldn't have been put in danger if he hadn't have been involved. So yeah, this is why you don't just let any Yahoo with a gun go and enforce what they think is the law in countries where they have no jurisdiction and it wouldn't even be the law from their home country or whatever. And so, like, I don't know if that is specifically what the lawsuit is about. I couldn't see the details. It was behind a paywall. But yeah, fuck him. If you're not familiar, he also had to step down because of sexual assault allegations, because he would like make women come with him on the trips to rescue these children and pretend to be his wife, and he'd be like, oh, you never know when they have cameras in the hotel room, so we'd better shower together and sleep naked together and probably have sex together. So yeah, he pressured people into doing sexy things with him, and yeah, no, he's just a piece of shit. Rosina says, don't embalm me, put me in concrete. I want the best chances of becoming a zombie. Yeah, don't embalm the zombies. You don't want to have cancer zombies. Jeez. So, yeah, those are the stories we're not covering. As for the ones we are covering, we're starting with Republican attorneys general are suing to demand more pregnant teenagers. And that is only a little bit of hyperbole. It is mostly Vice Rhino showering with Cirrus' skeleton. Okay, you guys don't need to know what I do with the skeleton when the stream is over. Okay? You don't need to know it. You just don't. Okay, so Republican attorneys general are suing because they want more pregnant teenagers. And that is, like, I said that's a little bit of hyperbole. It's actually not. It explicitly is not hyperbole. That is one of the reasons why they're suing. Okay, I know this is probably with regards to me talking about the skeleton, but I just talked about wanting pregnant teenagers not being hyperbole. That is not a fan art prompt. Do not do that. You can do whatever you want with me and the skeleton. Do not do anything with pregnant teenagers. Please. Okay. John says, I don't think that's really Cirrus' skeleton. It doesn't have a tail. Fair. Okay. 3 state Republican attorneys general filed a complaint in federal court on October 11th, arguing that their states have a right to pregnant teenagers, and that right is being violated by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. So they're targeting mifepristone, which is known as the abortion drug.
Oh, well.
Naramana puts for his 14-month membership. Welcome. Thank you for your 14th month. You basic. Says, pregnant skeleton Cirrus when? I don't know. I'm sure someone will do this. So, yeah. So they're usually talking about mifepristone and misoprostol. I don't know how to say these words. They're big science words. I'm not a big science guy. So, no, other hat. You know what? These Republicans are going kind of communist on these teenage girls, saying, those are our children that we want to get pregnant, comrade. Oh, God. No. I did not just say that. I'm sorry. Misoprostol. Misoprostol. That's what I'm saying. Because that is the phonetic spelling that you gave me. So yeah, they are drugs that are abortion and miscarriage management that have been approved for decades, and last year they were just approved to be sent by mail, dispensed online, and at pharmacies. So Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, Kansas Attorney General Chris Kobach, and Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador. That sounds like a porn star name, just saying. They're all Republicans, of course, because no Democrat would actually do this. They take issue with this. Abortion access decreases teen pregnancy, and they seem to think that this is a bad thing. This is a direct quote from their complaint. It says, remote dispensing of abortion drugs by mail, common carrier, and interactive computer service is depressing expected birth rates for teenage mothers in plaintiff states. So, like, that's actually like, this is what I mean. It wasn't hyperbole in the okay, now to be fair, this is from ballsandstrikes.org, not like a bastion of journalistic integrity, but like, this is a direct quote from the complaint. I read the complaint to verify this. So this isn't misreporting. This is like, they do have a spin on here. This is definitely a left-wing spin, but it's not inaccurate. Oh yeah, and they filed it in the Texas District Court that has like one judge, and it's Judge Matt Kaczmarek, who is a right-wing nut job. Like, he's the kind of guy that Trump would put on the Supreme Court if Trump gets voted in again. So they claim that decreased births constitute a sovereign injury to the state in itself and causes downstream injuries like losing a seat in Congress or qualifying for less federal funding if their populations are reduced. In other words, uteri, or uteruses, are state slush funds, and girls owe the state reproduction once they are capable of it. So, like, if you allow people to have control over their own bodies and not be pregnant, we might have fewer Congress people. It's like, okay, then have fucking fewer Congress people. That's not a reason to infringe on people's rights to bodily autonomy. Oh, that's right. Eileen Cannon is on his fucking short list for Supreme Court nominees. The fuck? Oh, this is another news item that we're not covering. There was I want to say it was Nevada? Nebraska? An N state, maybe? I don't remember which state it was, but there was a state where the Supreme Court, there was an attorney general who was not... So they just passed a law that allows felons to vote if they have completed their sentence and are in good standing. And the attorney general was like, nope, we're not going to let these people register to vote. And so there was a lawsuit, and it went to the Supreme Court of the state, and the state Supreme Court actually invoked The Simpsons as a comparison, being like, Patty and Selma at the DMV are better at following the law than this attorney general guy. So, yeah, when you are doing such a bad job at your job that they're comparing you to Simpsons characters and being like, these idiot Simpsons characters who are very clearly not actually doing their job properly because they showed preferential treatment, they move slowly on purpose and shit, and it's like, they're better at their job than you are. Like, you know you done fucked up. Back to the story. Yeah. States exist to serve people, not the other way around. But in order for courts to hear a case, it would be would-be plaintiffs need to show that they experienced an actual injury that the party they're suing caused, and that a court can fix. Now, like, being upset that some people aren't pregnant is not actually an injury. So they're trying to spin it that way by saying that they are entitled to population growth and accompanying funds that pregnant minors would produce, and the FDA is getting in the way of that by allowing people to, like, control their own bodies. Oh, there we go. Drew Harrison says, fun fact, the census that determines how many Congress people are in the House counts all people, not just citizens. Yeah, you know what? That's one of the big arguments against allowing immigration. Like, that's why they say the Democrats want illegal immigration, because all the illegal immigrants come in and they get counted in the census. So even if they can't vote, they now get more Congress people. And so that's why you get all these illegal immigrants in the Democrat-run cities and stuff. And so now they're saying that states are actually entitled to having more people in them so that they can have more Congress people. So maybe the Democratic Party should sue the Republican Party for not allowing illegal... Yeah, like, whatever. No, that doesn't work no matter how you look at it, because nobody is allowing illegal immigration. It's just... They're so fucking stupid. I just wish they could be consistent in their stupidity. Just be consistent. So the complaint also says that each of the states... Oh, here's where it gets really gross. Each of the states is the legal or parent or guardian to many minor girls of reproductive age, a reference to girls in state custody like foster care or juvenile detention. For those girls, they argue, the state is a stand-in for parents, and as parents, they claim, they have a right to consent to their children's medical care, which is apparently nullified if the teen girls in foster care can obtain abortion drugs online, in the mail, all on their own. So, under the state's theory, it can separate children from their actual parents, declare itself to be their father now, and then deem a daughter's pregnancy her daddy's prerogative. So, yeah, they're literally saying, like, as the state, we are the legal guardian of a bunch of these kids, and you allowing them to get medical care without us stopping them from getting that medical care is infringing on our rights to stop them from getting that medical care. Never mind the fact that, like, one of the state's responsibilities is to make sure its citizens have access to medical care. So, fuck you. Also, I don't know what it is in the States, but I know here, where I am, in Ontario, as soon as a kid turns 13, they can get whatever the fuck medical care they want without their parents finding out about it. My kid could make... yeah, I have 2 kids that are of that age. They could make their own doctor's appointments. And as long as they can get to their doctor's appointments, I never need to find out about it. And that includes, they could get the gender affirming care. Thankfully, though, my kids all actually, like, have a good relationship with me. So when they have gender-related stuff going on, they just talk to me about it, and we, you know, use different pronouns and shit. So, yeah. So the complaint is shocking in its brazenness, but it's a natural outgrowth of the conservative legal movement's effort to subordinate women. Girls choosing to not give birth is wrong, and men can go to court to set it right. Too hot for hats. Okay, what's the fuck is my air conditioner set at? It's supposed to be running right now. Wait. My vent was closed. Maybe I'll get more air now. Turn it down a bit more. Oh, yeah, that was the end of the article. So, yeah. VR is good, Dad. Yeah, so the first time I took my kids to the doctor after they turned 13, I had the conversation with them on the way there. I was like, hey, you're old enough now. If you want privacy with the doctor, like, you can ask me to leave, and I will leave. I don't have to be in the room with you. And whatever you talk to with the doctor in there, they're not allowed to tell me unless you give them permission to tell me. So, like, I make sure that they know that they're allowed to do that. Because, like, I actually want my kids to get proper health care. And if for whatever reason they're not comfortable talking to me about something that they need health care for, I still want them to have that health care. The vent was closed? I don't know, Vice Rhino. That's pretty sus. I mean, it's open now. Isn't that more sus? Oh, hey. I probably should have mentioned this at the outset, but because I'm streaming with a dead guy over there, his channel is still live, and but I'm not on his channel, so, like, if you're sending super chats and, like, redeeming ooh-oos and shit over there, I will never see it. So, yeah. Next up, Oklahoma parents, clergy sue state official over Bible in public schools mandate. This is coming to us from the Christian Post, which, very right-leaning organization, but I found this one to be surprisingly even-handed. Like, they did a decent job with this one. You can tell that there's a bit of a slant with the way that they word some things, but, like, overall, they actually reported okay on this one. And the fact that they're, like, in the headline, they're highlighting that clergy are suing about the Bible being in public schools, makes me think that, like, maybe they're not in favor of that. Probably just because they're specifically requiring the Trump Bible, but it's like, if you require any Bible in schools, doesn't matter what Bible you choose, there's going to be a denomination of Christians who will disapprove of that one. It's like, King James only Christians will not like any version but King James. I don't know why. It's not even the first English translation of the Bible. It's not a good translation. like why they fixate on that one, I don't know. But like there are others that are like, oh, the NIV is a woke Bible, we can't use the NIV. Oh, the ESV, that one is like, I don't know, like I don't know. There are problems with every translation, and there are a lot of like there are Christian denominations that that will say no to any particular, and like if you don't specify a denomination, then the teachers are up to it themselves, and then you get you'll get people like me who would be teachers who like you can actually get the Queen James Bible, which is a translation that explicitly changed some of the verses to be LGBTQ friendly. And there are other translations like that that like they take the homophobic verses and reword them to be not that. So King James Bible is the most literary. Literary in the sense that it's like, it sounds like high English, maybe. Like it sounds more poetic, but it's also much harder to understand because it's using archaic words. And it's just a bad translation. Like it's based on the Greek translation that it's based on was put together by Erasmus, and it wasn't even supposed to be a Greek translation. He was doing a Latin translation with Greek beside it. And there were a lot of times when he would do back translating when he didn't have access to a manuscript. So like there are a couple spots in particular that I forget where they are. I think it's like the end of Psalms. We can't see tailbones. Does that mean Skeleton Tail never had a tail? Rhino could be doing horrible things to the tailbones. I'll put the tailbones in my tail if you know what I mean. Thank you for the bits, Lord Azart. Yeah, so there's one spot in particular that we know for a fact that he did this, where so he didn't have a Greek translation, or he didn't have a Greek manuscript for a certain verse, so since he was doing his own Latin translation, he couldn't use a Latin manuscript that already existed. So what he did was he took a Latin manuscript that already existed, translated it into Greek to include that in the Greek section of his manuscript, and then translated that translation of Greek back into Latin using his own words so that it could be his own translation. And yeah, that produced a bunch of original manuscripts that contain little linguistic nuances that are not in any other manuscript transition at all, ever. And so like we know for a fact that the Greek translation that the King James is based on is severely flawed. Like Erasmus himself was like, no, the Greek's not very good. Like, you should have your own manuscripts and be checking my work against this. So yeah, the fact that there are any Christians that are King James only, it just blows my mind. Like, if you want to go original, go like Tyndale Bible. I don't think the Tyndale was the first either, but like Tyndale's the one that King James version was based on a lot. But I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, so Oklahoma parents and clergy are suing the state over these Bibles in public school. And part of the reason clergy would be suing is because, like, you don't know how the teachers can teach the Bible. You don't know which Bible the teachers can teach from. Well, I mean, in this case, it's the Trump Bible. But yeah. A group of parents, teachers, and clergy representing different faith groups have filed a lawsuit against Oklahoma education officials over a requirement to have the Bible taught in public schools. Now, as we read through this, I want you guys to pay attention to the difference in language used between the people that are filing suit and the people that are listed as defendants. So the complaint alleges that Walter's actions interferes with the parents' ability to... My God, that was loud. We have a hype train, because somebody resubscribed. Thank you... Who did that? Cute Dark Arts? Stoff, was that you? No? It's me, a subscriber. That's Duct Tape Jake. So thank you for that, Duct Tape Jake. I didn't expect the hype train noise to be that loud. I don't get hype trains very often, so I probably have adjusted all my noise levels since the last time I got one. So yeah, the complaint alleges that Walter's actions interferes with the parents' ability to direct the religious and moral upbringing of their children and violates Oklahoma Administrative Procedures Act. Yeah, so if the people at school, like this is what's kind of baffling here, is that the same people who want the Bibles in the classrooms also tend to be the people that are saying we don't do sex ed in the classrooms because that's the parents' responsibility. We shouldn't have the teachers doing that because they might teach something that the parents disagree with. We can't have them doing that. Like, it's getting in the way of the parents' rights to raise their children the way they want. Meanwhile, we're putting Bibles in schools and saying, like, okay, well, now you're getting in the way of parents doing their religious upbringing of their kids the way they want. So, like, pick a lane. As I said before, I don't care that you're stupid, just at least be consistent in your stupidity. You want to info dump about the stuff I learned about Igor Stravinsky's music piece, The Rite of Spring? Make a video essay about it, and I will probably watch it. I've watched every video on Sideways channel, and the channel Sideways is great video essays about music. He gets very ranty at times, and it's great. And he hates the Disney live action remakes, and it's great. So yeah, do a video essay on the Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, and I will absolutely watch it. So OAPA. Okay, so this is the response. Oh no, this isn't a response. Sorry, there is a part in this where it gets confusing as to who's talking, and I thought this was it, but it's not. OAPA requires the detailed procedures to be followed to issue a rule, including provision of notice and a comment period. Superintendent Walters made no effort to follow these procedures, so that's where, like, they just did the thing. They didn't actually follow the procedures required to do the thing. It also claims that the requirement for Bible teaching in public schools undermines the authority of individual school districts. It's a hydrate. School districts to select the instructional materials that they will use. So this is one of those... And a hat. Wizard hat. Okay. Yeah, so this is one of those things where people that are against broad school regulation or whatever, like oh, the school boards should be all local so they can, like, change quickly to adjust to their local community's needs and whatnot. And there is a certain amount of merit to that argument, but those same people will often, like, push back against any idea of any federal interference in education. And so here they are, like, this isn't federal, but this is like the schools want to use the materials that they find work best for them. And the superintendent is like, nuh-uh, you use the Bible. The Bible works best for everyone. Answer to all questions are in the Bible. Strangely, I have not yet had someone point me to the Bible verse that will tell me how to get my dog to stop peeing in the house. So the lawsuit names Walters, members of the Oklahoma State Board of Education, and members of the Oklahoma Office of Management and Enterprise Services as defendants. Groups representing the plaintiffs include the Wisconsin-based Freedom from Religion Foundation, the Oklahoma chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union, the Oklahoma Appleseed Center for Law and Justice, and the Americans United for Separation of Church and State.
Oh, whoa.
Morbid Palace cheered 10 bits. Thank you for that. Always appreciated. So Andrew Seidel, who wrote a great book on why America is not a Christian nation. I forget what it's called, but it's something along the lines of America is not a Christian. Just look up Andrew Seidel. It's a good book. He said he believed it was clear that Oklahomans are united against Walter's extreme agenda. The vast majority of Oklahomans from all walks of life and all religions are united in supporting inclusive public schools free of indoctrination. Teachers, parents, students, taxpayers, indigenous people who are all too familiar with the history of government schools preaching the Bible. Yeah, tell me about it. LGBTQ plus families and students, students with disabilities, Christians, atheists, and so many more want to preserve their freedom by keeping the church and state separate. Like, absolutely. Like, you have public schools promoting one religion over another, it's just not good for anybody. Not even the people of that religion. So, like... And Christians disagree about so much, so, like... like, as a Christian, I would be concerned about this, because, like, what if the person... Like, when I... Like, thinking back to when I was a Christian, and was a Christian parent, like, I was a Christian when I had my first, and... My second child came along was when the doubts were starting, so I wasn't quite as firm. He never got dedicated. But with my first, a hardcore Christian. And that was one of my concerns was when we got to school, and even if sending your kids to a Christian school, like I went to a Christian school, I saw differences of opinion between different Christianities or whatever between teachers. So like that was one of my concerns. Like, what if someone that's supposed to teach them about Christianity teaches them Christianity that I disagree with? Because there's not 45,000 denominations of Christianity for no reason. Because they all disagree with shit. There we go. The founding myth, why Christian nationalism is un-American. Yeah, and that's all about how America is not the Christianity. One bit. I didn't even know you could cheer one bit. Congratulations on figuring that out. Really wish these people would get through their heads that freedom of and from religion. That it's freedom of and from religion. Yeah, indeed. Okay, so this is the Department of Education talking now. Well, this is a blanket statement from Walters. This is, depends on channel settings one bit. Yeah, I suppose is like I think like what's one bit, like a portion of a penny? It's like 1/10 of a cent or something. And now I gotta drag my stream to a halt because somebody sent me a bit. I might have to figure out how to change that, but it like okay, a bit is 1 cent. There we go. The simple fact is that understanding how the Bible has impacted our nation in its proper historical and no, sorry, I skipped the quote. So Walters issued a statement that says Oklahomans will not be bullied by out-of-state radical leftists who hate the principles our nation was founded upon. So remember what I said. Listen to the difference in how people talk. Andrew Seidel, freedom from no, he's Americans United for Separation of Church and State. Says Oklahomans are united in wanting to keep our schools free of indoctrination. Like all these different diverse groups of people and so many more want to preserve their freedoms by keeping church and state separate. It's perfectly rational, perfectly reasonable. And then Walters comes back being like, they're out-of-state radical leftists who hate the principles our nation was founded upon. You mean principles like religious freedom? That thing that you're violating by forcing everybody to read the specific version of the Bible that you prefer? I think I don't know the details, but I think there has been an update on that story where like he loosened the criteria a bit, so now it's not so blatantly favoring just the Trump Bible, but it still is mostly just the Trump Bible. Legia Miller's most recent video about theocracy bros. I will try to remember to look into that. Can't promise that I'll remember to look into that.
Whoa.
Why do people forget the great Irish kerfuffle between Catholics and Protestants? Fucking great Irish kerfuffle looks like it looks like a little kerfuffle compared to the 30 Years' War, which was also a kerfuffle between Catholics and Protestants. And it's by percentage of world population that died, it is one of the most deadly wars in human history. Like, yeah, it happened way back when the world population was comparatively tiny to what it is now. So, like, in absolute numbers, yeah, like, all the wars of the 20th century were more deadly. But, like, as proportion of the population, it's up there with World War II. And it was entirely about Catholicism versus Protestantism. And it was a continuation of stuff that was happening before the 30 Years' War that also killed a bunch of people. So, yeah. Christians don't always agree with each other, sometimes to the point of death. But yeah, the simple fact is that understanding how the Bible has impacted our nation, this is again still Walters, how the Bible has impacted our nation in its proper historical and literary context was the norm in America until the 1960s, and its removal coincided with a precipitous decline in American schools. So yeah, I'd say there is a place for teaching about how the Bible has impacted the United States, and that's in things like how it was used to promote, the institution of slavery, mostly, and like how Christians are trying desperately to influence politics while pretending that they're being oppressed. So like, yeah, I won't deny that the Bible has definitely had an impact on American history. Not a positive one. and not the kind of impact that you're going to want to teach about. Okay, people are in on the Twitch chat arguing about the cost of bits. Guys, you can just tell me anything. I won't know any difference. I'm never going to check. I don't even know how much I get paid from Twitch. Thank you, Fennec. Fennec has linked the Legia Miller video. I know you're just clarifying, guys. I'm just saying that, like, I'm so bad at Twitch streaming that, like, I haven't even been on the Twitch dashboard in probably a couple months. I haven't done anything there in a couple months, so I don't know what's going on with Twitch. So, like, you could literally lie to me about it. I just know that every now and then I get a little bit of money from in my PayPal that says it came from Twitch. And it's not a lot, but... Okay. He continues, this is still Walters, says, "It is not possible for our students to understand American history and culture without understanding the biblical principles from which they came. So I am proud to bring back the Bible to every classroom in Oklahoma." No, so you see, that's what the Andrew Seidel book about how the founding myth, and, like, Christian nationalism, all that. No. The United States was not founded on biblical principles. Biblical principles are things like, you're not allowed to want things. Last I checked, America was a capitalist nation. The whole basis of the capitalist system is wanting things. But the 10th commandment in the 10 commandments is, thou shalt not want things. So, I mean, it's specifically about wanting things that your neighbor has. So, like, it could be framed as, like, being jealous of the things that other people have, but that's still the basis of capitalism. Hey, that guy's got a nice watch. I'd like a watch like that. I'm gonna go buy a watch. And the people that have the watch, they want my money more than they want the watch. I want the watch more than I want my money, so I will trade them money for watch. Because we both wanted a thing that the other one had. Literally, like, capitalism is literally against the 10th commandment. And yet, these capitalist-loving Republicans will get up there and be like, "Yeah, we were founded on biblical principles." So, yeah, just shows that they don't know the story of their country's founding, and they don't know the Bible. It's that simple. Okay, here we go. It is not possible for so I'm proud to bring back the Bible to every classroom in Oklahoma. I will never back down to the woke mob, no matter what tactic they use to try and intimidate Oklahomans. So, like, again, on one side, we have a message of unity, wanting to protect the kids, give parents the rights to raise the kids as they see fit without the state getting involved. And on the other hand, you're the woke mob who are trying to intimidate us, and you hate America's principles. It's like, okay, if you need to resort to that kind of rhetoric, you're probably lying or wrong. They would call Jesus a socialist. I don't know about Jesus specifically. Like, yeah, there was that whole sell all your shit and give it to the poor in order to follow me. And, you know, rich people can't fit through the eye of a camel. But I think Paul was more of a socialist than Jesus. Because Paul's the one that had the church where, like, it was actually part of their thing where, like, you had to sell all of your possessions and give the proceeds from that to the church, and then everybody lives in common, holding everything in common. Nobody owns anything. Literally communism. And, like, the story of Ananias and Sapphira was a time when they sold their property, and then they lied about how much they got for their property so that they could not give all of it to the church, and God killed them for lying about how much, like, because they didn't want to give everything to the church. So, like, God has literally killed people for not being communist enough. Oh, did I say rich people can't fit through the eye of a camel? Something like that. You know what I meant. Rich people can't fit into their camel toes. Sounds like Paul was the first Christian cult leader with a compound. Yeah. You're not wrong. I mean, I don't know if he had a compound because he moved around a lot and wrote books about how if you don't pay me a bunch of money when I'm staying with you and take care of all my stuff, then like that's bad for you. Yeah, okay. Chill it with the camel's eye. Okay. So, in July, Norman Public School Superintendent Nick Migliorno told the Norman Transcript that his school district was not going to adhere to Walter's mandate on Bibles in classrooms, saying Norman Public Schools is not going to have Bibles in our classrooms, and we are not going to require our teachers to teach from the Bible. The standards are clear, and our curriculum is very clear, and we're not going to deviate from that. I don't know. I'm just going to be direct on that one. That sounds like someone who's tired of dealing with this shit. Wish you had said camel's toe. Yeah, easier for a rich man to fit into a camel's toe than to get into heaven. Okay, so oh yeah, so this is where it got confusing. So this is one of the groups that is being sued. So these are the people on the side of Bibles should go in classrooms. It says, Oklahoma parents have demanded schools get back to basics, eliminate woke indoctrination, and focus on a solid background in history and civics. The Bible is foundational to American history and culture, and it is academic malpractice not to include it in its instructional materials. Democrats not only stand against America's Christian heritage, they are anti-knowledge. I'm not surprised that the most inconsequential caucus doesn't want the Bible in classrooms. Okay, I know they're probably referring to atheists as being the inconsequential caucus, but it sounds like they're saying the entire Democratic Party is the most inconsequential caucus, which is hilarious, because it is objectively not that. But also, again, look at the language being used. On the one hand, everybody wants to live in peace and harmony. On the other hand, we're eliminating woke indoctrination, and you guys are anti-knowledge if you don't want people to be indoctrinated into the Bible and be forced to learn a version of American history that is objectively false. So Andrew Seidel also so this is one of the spots where you can kind of see their right wing slant is slipping through, and it's not a bad spot. So they say Seidel also claimed that Walter, instead of just saying Seidel said that Walters is dividing school. Oh, he claimed this. So you can see they're kind of softening their language a little bit, but like aside from that, like this has been pretty just straight up reporting, which is not normal for the Christian Post. So kudos to whoever wrote this article. There's very little of the of your normal bias showing in here. So Walters is dividing school children. God damn it. Walters is dividing school children along religious lines. So the thing about watching me live stream, so you get to see all the times that I just like stumble over simple words. That now that I have an editor, there's another person like laughing at the times that I can't say normal things. Because like that's a lot of my mistakes are just not funny. Because it's just me screwing up the same word over and over again. And in not funny ways. But anyway. Walters is dividing school children along religious lines and warned that this increases the risk of bullying and violates religious freedom of everyone. So yeah, that kid that, you know, seemed kind of hesitant to read the daily Bible reading in class. He clearly doesn't love Jesus as much as everybody, so let's pick on him in the classroom or in the playground or whatever. Like, yeah, that's clearly going to happen. The rules for public schools are clear, he continued. They can teach about religion, but not preach it as divine truth. They can educate about religion, but not indoctrinate children into one religion. Walter's agenda is coercive and targets captive audiences of school children. Study after study and case after case shows that when Christian nationalists push for public schools to teach the Bible, they fail to meet constitutional requirements and end up religiously coercing students. Families whose religious freedoms have been violated have often had no choice but to challenge them in court. Again, perfectly reasonable from the side that's against having Bibles in classrooms. Okay, I don't know what context this is in, but y'all sure you want a phone that has 19 Safari tabs of extreme NSFW? Because that's the only warning I'm going to give y'all about my phone. So first off, I am guessing from the word Safari that you use Apple. So no, I don't want your phone because it's an Apple, and those things are pieces of shit. Second, if it wasn't an Apple, yeah, I wouldn't mind 19 Safari tabs of extreme NSFW. But also that reminds me, I'm on Blue Sky now. I don't know how long I'm gonna last on Blue Sky, but I am trying to be less on Twitter, because Twitter is a hellhole. Oh, we got people asking why Cirrus is a skelly. Cirrus died, so he's joining us from the afterlife. No, he's just he's taking the week off. Yeah, I'm just Vice Rhino on Blue Sky. If you search for Vice Rhino, you'll probably see it. But yeah, no, I'm on Blue Sky. And what was I saying? Oh, right. So I used the app that Cirrus talked to me about, I think last week. How where you can like log into Twitter and it'll show you all the people that like all of these handles are also on Blue Sky. So you can just like click follow here and you can follow them all really quick. So like, okay, great. So I just went through the list and I clicked follow on all the people that I already follow that I found on Blue Sky. So thing is, on Twitter, my partner set up an account for the dog that we posted like 3 or 4 pictures on and then forgot about. And the dog's name is Puddles. And I think the handle was like at Puddles Woof or something, but like the screen name was just Puddles. And I guess in amongst that was an account on Blue Sky that I don't know what the handle is, but the screen name again was just Puddles, and it was like, hey, we found one with a matching screen name with a different handle. I didn't know what that meant at the time, so I was just like, fine, whatever, follow. The Puddles on Blue Sky is someone who is got a massive dirty diaper fetish. And so there was a time when I was on there where it was like, oh, this whole thing is like so wholesome, except there's the occasional like furry drawing of like a baby poop in itself and someone's sniffing it or whatever, and it's just like that's weird. So I'm just going to scroll past that and then enjoy the rest of the nice stuff. And eventually I figured out that it was that account, and it's just like, okay, I see how that happened. Unfollow. You're allowed to have your fetish. I do not share that one. Trump's on Blue Sky. I don't think Trump's on Blue Sky. See, Puddle's Pity Party, who's an amazing singer. I would have preferred that to the diaper porn. Like, if you're into diaper porn, go for it. I'm not going to judge you. Not for me. Just keep it in amongst you and the people that are also into it with you. But, yeah. Okay, sorry, I got distracted. So next up, the Central Park Five are suing Donald Trump for jogger case remarks made at presidential debate. To which I say, good. Fucking get him. Go for it. Good luck. I wish you all the best. Because, so, here's the thing. Basically, because of what he said at the debate, he said that they killed someone, and they pled guilty to killing someone, and he never actually, like, and, like, he followed him, and was like, yeah, but then I guess they pled innocent later, but, like, the way he said it, oh, this was sent to me by Fennec. Yeah, and now everything's all messed up. I'm back. There we go. So yeah. Yeah, so he made it sound like they killed someone and that he thought that they still had killed someone. And oh, Rudy is being liquidated? I missed the headline about Rudy being liquidated. God damn. Okay, add that to the list of things that I'm not covering today. But yeah, so he made it sound like they killed someone, which, first off, the thing that they were originally put in jail for was not murder. Nobody died. It was rape, which, yeah, absolutely horrible that it happened to the lady, but it wasn't them, and she survived. So there was no murder, and he said they murdered someone, and said it in a way that very heavily implied that he still believed that they had actually murdered the person. And it turns out you can't just say like things like that about people, and he hasn't learned his lesson. So they're suing him. So the men formerly known as the Central Park Five before they were exonerated, the way this is worded makes it sound like they were just exonerated this past Monday, but no, on Monday they filed a defamation lawsuit against Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump. With Election Day 2 weeks away, the group accused the former president of making false and defamatory statements about them during last month's presidential debate with Kamala Harris. The group is asking for a jury trial to determine compensatory and punitive damages. Defendant Trump falsely stated that the plaintiffs killed an individual and pled guilty to the crime. These statements are demonstrably false. The men are upset because Trump essentially defamed them in front of 67 million people, which had caused them to seek to clear their names all over again. Yeah, I can imagine, like, if this is something that you are known for in your life, Trump brings that up again. Maybe people have finally stopped asking you about that. Suddenly, you're back in the spotlight again, and people are now asking you, like, wait a minute, you were in jail for murder? I thought it was just the other thing. And like, no, this could be bad for Trump. Good for us. And of course, Trump spokesman Steve Chung described it as a suit as just another frivolous election interference lawsuit filed by desperate left-wing activists. Again, look at the language between people on the left and people on the right. Like, the people here just are like, hey, you called for us to be executed, and you never apologized for calling it for us to be executed, and now you're doing what you can to ruin our lives again. Please stop. And now they're like, this is a left-wing activist election interference lawsuit trying to distract from Harris's dangerously liberal agenda and failing campaign. And like, sadly, I don't actually think this will have any impact whatsoever on the election itself. It should. This should be a deal breaker, but like, everything Trump has done should be a deal breaker, but he's fucking Trump, so he's immune to that for whatever the fuck reason. But like, no, these are just people who have been hurt by Trump wanting some compensation for having been hurt by Trump. But yeah, so the five who are black and Latino said that they confessed to the crimes under duress. They later recanted, pleading not guilty in court, and were later convicted after jury trials. Their convictions were vacated in 2002 after another person confessed to the crime. After the crime, Trump purchased a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the teens to be executed. Now, just imagine that. Like, imagine calling for, like, they're teenagers when it happened. They were children. Calling for the execution of children. Like, even if you believe they did it, it's like, they're kids. Like, yeah. I'm not going to pretend like, oh yeah, no, kids will be kids. And, you know, sometimes that involves raping someone. No, absolutely not. So, like, but, like, even if you believe they did it, you don't call for the execution of children. Like, I'm sorry, but no. Doesn't matter what the crime is. And that's assuming they're guilty, which they're not. They were exonerated. But in the September 10th debate, Trump misstated key facts in the case when Harris brought up the matter. Said they admitted to it. They said they pled guilty, and I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately, and they pled guilty, then pled not guilty. So no, that's not how it went. They pled not guilty. They never entered a guilty plea. They did sign a confession when the police were torturing them into signing confessions. So yeah, so 16 and 15 when this happened. So yeah, like, not even children in the sense that, like, I consider anyone under 25 to be a child. Children in the sense that, like, they're not legally allowed to vote. They can't buy alcohol. They can't, you know, like, one of them couldn't drive a car. The other ones might not have been able to, depending on how long they've been 16. Oh, God. Texas recently executed a 14-year-old? The fuck is wrong with you people? Holy shit. Why? Don't answer. I don't want to know about that. Just, goddamn. He appeared to be confusing guilty pleas with confessions, and also no victim died. The now exonerated five, including Salam, who is now a New York City councilman, good for him, have been campaigning for Harris. Some of them spoke at the Democratic National Convention in August, calling out Trump for never apologizing for the newspaper ad. But yeah, that's basically it. He said objectively incorrect things about these people, and now they're suing him for that. And yeah, sadly, I don't think this is going to impact the election at all. It should impact the election. Oh, I forgot that was still active. But yeah, no, it should impact the election. It's not going to. But what was I going? Where was I going with that? I was going somewhere, and I got distracted by Cirrus's video thing that I set up. Oh yeah, so if Harris wins, this is going to go to court and almost certainly is going to result in him needing to pay them millions and millions of dollars, just like he did with Eugene Carroll. And that is good. He needs to see more consequences. He's seen a lot of, like, he has seen a lot of consequences so far. He's, like, owes a lot of people a lot of money from all these things he's been found guilty of. But the thing that scares me is that if he does win this election, if he makes it into office, last I checked, most dictators don't really pay attention to people who are trying to sue them civilly. Like, he's just gonna be like, no, and make it go away. So yeah, like, and I know, like, in 2016, I would have said that this is being alarmist to say that, like, oh, he's a wannabe dictator, he's gonna be a dictator, but, like, no, he wants to be a dictator. And all the people that were able to stop him from becoming a dictator last time are gone. They refuse to work with him now. And he is now surrounding himself with people like Eileen Cannon, who he said he's going to put on the Supreme Court. Like, yeah, he's surrounding himself with sycophants and yes men who don't care about the law, don't even know the law, who will just do what he wants. And yeah, if he actually gets in, I am actually scared that democracy is in danger if he gets in. Because, like, it's not like it can't happen. Like, Hitler came to power in a democracy. Like, it's not impossible to lose a democracy to a wannabe dictator. So I don't know, like, the reason people saying that, like, oh yeah, no, there's checks and balances, you couldn't do it too bad. Like, he already fucking messed up the system significantly with his first 4 years. What do you think he's gonna do with another 4 years when there are no adults in the room? So yeah, it's terrifying. But speaking of which, let's move on to the tweets. First tweet is from Ben Shapiro. Thomas Williams said, I agree there is a disconnect, and I am personally very concerned about crimes like the one you described. I just feel like it's a far bigger deal that one of the candidates wants to emulate Hitler. To which Ben Shapiro replies, please list explicitly the things that Donald Trump will do that emulate Hitler, not the dumb crap he says, stuff he actually will do. It's fucking wild to me. Fucking wild that people like Ben, these right-wing pundits, can just say with a straight face, like, hey, yeah, no, just because he says he's going to do the dictator thing doesn't mean he's going to actually do it. Like, yeah, no, you can't use things that he says he's going to do as evidence that he's going to do something. Why would you do that? Like, the balls on this guy to, like, say, like, oh, no, you can't use things he's going to say to prove that he's going to do things that he says he's going to do. How? How, Ben? Fucking how do you get there? God, I don't understand. How are people like this? How is anyone like this? Okay. Candace Owens. This one's a bit more lighthearted. Says, my 2-year-old daughter just came over to me with a white crayon and said, Mommy, it doesn't work. And I think it's perfectly reasonable to ask Crayola, what exactly is the point of the white crayon? I'm sorry. Have you not heard of colored construction paper? Are you not aware of, like, blending? Like, I mean, 2-year-old probably doesn't care about blending colors or whatever, or like using the white to like do like shine on things or whatever, like make the, you know, like you draw an eye and you do the little crescent of white or whatever to make it look like a make it look like a reflection. Like, how dumb is this person? Like, I don't know. It's just, it makes me wonder though, like, you have a 2-year-old and you haven't discovered that there are different colors of construction paper. Like, you buy black construction paper and draw stars on it with the white crayon. That's the thing that I did as a kid. So, yeah. Next one's also from Candace Owens. It says, so true, LOL, with a picture that says, doctors, don't worry, the x-ray won't harm you. Also, doctors, hiding behind a fence. Oh, that's a hydrate. But I guess that's the radiology thing. So yeah, here's the thing though. You get an x-ray done, you get bombarded with radiation that, you know, it is at harmful levels, but like only if it's sustained. And, but like for the brief time period that they do that, it's like, whatever. But if you are working that machine all day, every day as your job, yeah, if you're not hiding behind that lead thing, you are getting that big dose like every single time. And yeah, it adds up and you get cancer. So like, yeah, that's perfectly reasonable for the people that are exposed to it all day to hide behind the thing while you just stick your arm under it. It was a joke before, but he doesn't really read chat, does he? Okay. In my defense, right now in particular, I have 4 chats going. That I have one thing that amalgamates them all, and it gets very confusing and it goes very fast. So it's not that I don't read the chats, it's that I can't read the chats. He did the thing. What thing did I do? What did I do? What are you talking about? Don't make me scroll up. Don't make me scroll up, citrus peppercorn. Scrolling. You didn't even say anything before that. Not for a while, anyway. Let China carry humanity into the future. The US is a failed experiment.
So
Fun random thing. The French word for cat is spelled chat. Yeah. How blank is Candace Owens? She's a new flurfer. Sure. Okay. Oh yeah. So Kevin Sorbo posted this. Says best McDonald's ad ever. I'm not gonna lie. I legitimately think that is a funny Photoshop job. I do not think that Kevin did that. He does not have the skill to do that. He just stole it from someone else. So combined Twitch chat, YouTube chat, what's number 4? Yeah. No, because I'm streaming on Cirrus's channels. So normally Cirrus sees his chats. I don't get them on my end because he's doing the streaming on his end himself. Because I'm streaming to all 4, my combined chat that I get through Restream is all 4 chats in one. So that's where I get my 4 from. K-Sorbs with an actual good post. Yeah, but he's... I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say it's an ad, but oh, wouldn't let you say stupid in a super chat. Really? Huh. That's okay. That's a weird rule. I mean, I guess you like pay. Like I'm just sitting here like, if someone wants to pay me money to call me stupid, I'm just like, okay, give me money and call me stupid. I don't mind. I'll take your money. But I guess YouTube's like, no, that might be bad for some people's mental health. You know what? Fuck YouTube anyway, because right now... So before Patreon let you upload videos directly to Patreon, I used to give patrons early access by uploading them to a separate YouTube channel that was like Vice Rhino, patrons only, and I would leave them unlisted so you can only watch the video if you have the link, and I would post the link to my patrons a day early. One of those videos from several years ago just got deleted by YouTube for spreading medical misinformation. And the medical misinformation was vaccine misinformation. And it was like, and I appealed it, not because it matters on that channel, but because that video is still up on my main channel. So like if this happens on my main channel, I want to like have a preview of how it's going to go down. And they denied my appeal. They're like, nope, we still think it's medical misinformation. So fuck you. It's deleted. So yeah, that is kind of terrifying to me because that video is still up on my main channel. But the thing is, Twitch is just as bad, if not worse. Sure. But I don't understand Twitch, so I can't complain about it. Yeah, so I could at any moment get a community guidelines strike on my main channel for this old video that's up, and it's not even... Okay, you know what? I will still drink, even though your hydrate redeem apparently crapped out. You sure didn't piss out? Yeah, so that video is still up on my main channel. So at any moment I could get a community guidelines strike, and I don't want to take it down because I feel that that video is one of my more important videos, even if it's not one of the more popular ones, because the thing that happened, it was response to Answers in Genesis critical thinking check number 3 or whatever, where they were talking about like, oh, this is like, like their whole thing was like, you need to get your information from creationist sources because that's where the true information is from. And so I use that as a springboard to be like, okay, here's how you actually determine the quality of a source. Like, here's things you can look for. Here's things that are red flags. Here's things that are not red flags. And like, here's what we want to see from a high quality source. Here's what we would expect to see from a low quality source. And I used an example. I used science-based medicine was my example of a high quality source. And natural news was my example of a low quality source. And this, just for the YouTube bots, this is me explaining that vaccines are good and that the website that I use that said they're bad is actually a bad website. So please do not flag this video. But I used one of their vaccine things, and I showed like how they claim these things and they pad their claims with some true things, and then they jump to a conclusion that they want you to get from the things, but it's not actually justified by the true things that they say, and there's a bunch of false things sprinkled in there, and they provided sources, but when you actually track down the sources and like if you click on their source, it goes to another garbage website, which they provided a source for it. But if you click on that source, it goes to another garbage website. And eventually I got to the actual paper that originated that source, and it was a big old nothing burger. So it's like the sources are 4 steps removed. And like, I went through this whole thing and explained why, like how it didn't, like all the vaccine scaring doesn't actually hold water. They're just wanting you to draw conclusions that are not warranted based on a few true things, a few lies, and if you put them all together and phrase them in scary sounding ways, you get to the scary sounding conclusion. And yeah, YouTube is like, that is spreading medical misinformation. So I'm like, I'm sorry, teaching people how to spot medical misinformation is itself medical misinformation? How? Fucking how? And so it's like, I don't want to take it down, because I feel like that's an important skill that people should have, that it's stuff that people should be aware of. But YouTube is like, no, you're spreading misinformation, and they rejected the appeal. Creationists are really using the same talking points as Kent Hovind in 2007. Yeah, no, they haven't updated their stuff since, like the last update that Creations got was 2005 with the Mary Schweitzer soft tissue find. But yeah, back to the tweet. I don't think Kevin photoshopped this. I'm confident in saying I know that he did not Photoshop this, because he'd take stuff from...
Oh, whoa.
Wait, what? YouTube moderation is a bag of dicks? Did putting dicks in a different font let you get past the moderation so that you could put dicks in a super chat? Because I feel like that would be a word that they would ban just like stupid. Neuromptoputs, share your wisdom with us. Teach everyone how to circumvent the YouTube moderation. No, don't do that, because then YouTube will flag this video for misinformation or something. I don't know. Next up, Molson. Oh, this is fun. So this is one of those like reasonable budget things. Says, I know a guy who lives in a 3-bedroom apartment in Manhattan with his wife and kid. Here's an estimate of their monthly expenses: $18,000 mortgage, $2,000 HOA, $3,000 property tax, $500 of parking, $16,000 24/7 nanny, $5,000 food and entertainment, $2,000 travel, $46,500 a month, $1.116 million of pre-tax income per year. And then he went on the replies here to like explain how that's perfectly reasonable. And like it's actually kind of poor when you think about it. And I'm just like, okay, $16,000 for a 24/7 nanny. Nobody needs a 24/7 nanny. Like, I wish I had a nanny 3 days a week. That would be fucking amazing. So yeah, no one needs a 24/7 nanny. He tried to justify that by being like, oh, well, both of them work. And then so like, of course they need 24/7 nanny. Be like, okay, both me and my partner work and we have 5 kids.
Oh, well.
Where's our 24/7 nanny? Let's just move 20 miles to New Jersey, man. Yeah, right. AIG is a bag of dicks is a Dapper Dinosaur thingy. I don't understand what you mean by that. I mean, I know who Dapper Dinosaur is, and I know that AIG is a bag of dicks. But sure. $18,000, I don't know, $18,000 a month mortgage for living in Manhattan. That's probably an apartment somewhere, like an apartment in a high-rise thing. I don't know what property prices are in Manhattan. I just know that they are prohibitively expensive, so I didn't question that one. But yeah, also $500 a month for parking, that seems like a lot even for New York, but that's the smallest expense there, so who cares? But also like $5,000 for food and entertainment and $2,000 for travel. That's more than you need to do. Like, and that's not like a New York specific, it like entertainment is more expensive in New York. Like, no, you go to the movie theater, it's the same price in New York as it is in like, it's the same price in New York City as it is elsewhere, but like, I guess if you go out to a Broadway show several times a week, maybe. I don't know. How are they spending so much on food? Maybe they have 5 kids like me, because oh no, but you see, that's not just food. That's food and entertainment. So that's yeah, we went to a fancy dinner that is $200 a plate. But yeah. So it's not a reasonable budget by any stretch of the imagination, even for living in downtown Manhattan. But then, and look at the dates. This was October 2nd. This one was 10 days later, October 12th. It says, in rural Texas, we just posted a $14 an hour part-time cash container unloading job. No one showed up. Now our team of 2 is unloading 35,000 pounds of brain flakes themselves. Wild that 14 isn't enough these days. Pictures are old and for plush, but it gives you an idea. So yeah, on the one hand, he's explaining how $46,500 a month is a reasonable list of expenses. And now here he is saying that less than $30,000 a year should be enough to get people to unload boxes for you. It's like, okay, I get that rural Texas is not downtown Manhattan. So like, yeah, whatever. But like, still, you can't, like, people that don't live in Manhattan also have kids. You think you're going to be able to hire a 24/7 nanny with $14 an hour? You think you're going to be able to spend thousands of dollars on, like, $2,000 on travel? Yeah. So it's just funny that he posted these 10 days apart with zero self-awareness. Dr. Ben Tapper says, as part of a custody battle, a Tennessee judge ordered a family to vaccinate all 3 of their children. Oh, okay. Again, YouTube bots, I am pro-vaccine. I'm going to be explaining why vaccines are a good thing here. Please do not flag this video as medical misinformation. I'm making fun of the people who are trying to spread medical misinformation, so just ease the fuck off. Now that that's out of the way, A Tennessee judge ordered a family to vaccinate all 3 of their children, all of whom had never been vaccinated. 5-year-old Isaac immediately became ill and was eventually diagnosed with severe regressive autism. So, the word eventually in that sentence is doing an awful lot of heavy lifting, isn't it? Like, 5 years old is a pretty normal time to be diagnosed with autism, vaccines or no. So, like, what is eventually here? Was it when he turned 6? Was it a year later? 3 months later? A couple weeks later? Who knows? We don't know. Probably, like, if it was short enough, he probably would have just said the time span. Also, what the fuck is regressive autism? I don't know. To the best of my knowledge, it's categorized as things like verbal and nonverbal. Yeah, fuck Andrew Wakefield indeed. He literally tortured children as part of that that paper that he fabricated. So, yeah, he's a piece of shit. But yeah, no. So as a parent of 2 autistic kids, I'm like, I'd rather have a live autistic child than a kid who died of the measles or something else that could be prevented with a vaccine. So apparently someone in one of Cyrus's chats says regressive means that they were talking and now they're not. I don't know. Is that a thing that happens with autism sometimes? I could see that happening, because I know my oldest, when they were diagnosed with autism, there were some behaviors that they were trying to mask before. And so when it became clear that, like, this is something that happens because of your autism, and so it's a normal thing and it's okay, they, at least at home, they let the mask off and are more comfortable being expressive in these ways. And so it seemed to be regressive in the sense that these behaviors that most people would consider inappropriate for a child of that age, but it is appropriate for someone with autism. So, like, I could see how that could be seen as regressive, but it's not. It's just being more comfortable with who you are and being more comfortable at home in doing things that you need to do to make yourself comfortable. Olivia Williams, member for 4 months, says, just remembering to press like. Thank you, Olivia. So, yeah, I don't know that stopping talking would be in the same category of things. But, yeah. Stress from a divorce can trigger things like that. Yeah, oh, I know about family stress. All of my kids are in therapy. So, yeah. But, yeah, no, this is just a gross way of talking about kids with autism, and, frankly, it's just gross to repeat the lie that vaccines cause autism, because they don't. And, like, the only study that has ever found that was the Wakefield study, and he had to lie in that study to come to that conclusion, and when he wasn't lying, he was torturing kids into it. Like, literally torturing kids. Like there were nurses that quit and shit because they couldn't handle having to, like, strap these kids down to give them painful procedures that they didn't want to have. And he used his position of authority as a doctor to make it sound like he was doing the right thing to the when he was talking to the parents. So, yeah. I didn't need to know this. Well, I'm sorry. Watch the H-Bomber guy video on it. It's very, very revealing. Yeah, that's the other thing that a lot of people don't remember is that Wakefield was casting doubt on specifically the MMR vaccine because he was developing his own vaccine that he wanted to sell. So, like, yeah, he was literally doing it for the money. So, yeah. Frank Turek. We haven't seen Frank in a while here. Says, you also hear the compound word anti-choice. You're not pro-life, you're anti-choice. Oh, really? Well, I'm anti-murder, okay? Put me down for that. Like, okay. I'm also anti-murder. Guess what abortion isn't? Wakefield should have his degree revoked. I've got some good news for you there. He has. You're not allowed to call him Dr. Wakefield anymore. He's just Andrew. He's just Mr. Wakefield. He's not allowed to do medicine stuff anymore. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, he probably had an allergic reaction to the vaccine, and that was the immediately sick part. And then he was just diagnosed with autism later, and that was just a coincidence. Okay, yeah, not his degree revoked, but his medical license was revoked. Yeah, I know. You can't revoke a degree, as far as I know. But, like, when you have a degree that allows you to do something like practice medicine or whatever, you do have to be licensed, and if you get your license revoked, then the degree is useless. I mean, mostly useless, because, like, I know... So my partner is now in the last stage of becoming the final stage. She's doing practicum, so she's finally doing therapy for people, but like as a student with a supervisor and everything. And once she's done that, she will get her degree, but she also still has to be licensed by the CRPO, which is the licensing organization in Ontario for therapists. And if she doesn't get that license, then she cannot call herself a therapist. And she can't do psychotherapy, but she could still use her master's degree to, like, get a job as a social worker or something. So there are things you can do with these medical degrees and whatnot if you're not licensed to practice medicine, but it's much more limited than what you can do with them if you are licensed. Remember, measles causes immune amnesia, resulting in the resetting the immune system. A person that gets measles can die from this for up to 2 years later, and as the immune system repairs. Yep. Getting the measles can wipe out 75 to 90%, if I remember correctly. I might have the numbers wrong a little bit, but it's a significant chunk of your built-up immunity to diseases that you have already been exposed to. Measles can wipe that right back out. So, like, yeah, like, the measles don't necessarily kill you, but the thing that deadly disease that you used to be immune to because you already fought it off or were already immunized against, that one can kill you now because the measles killed your immunization to it. Oh, COVID can do that too? Fuck COVID. Everybody get your boosters. Anyway, yeah, Frank says he's anti-murder. I'm anti-murder too. Abortion's not murder. It's bodily autonomy. That's all it is. Like, you can't... It's like the example that you use of, like, you can't force someone to donate an organ to save someone's life. That is not, like... If a doctor came to me and said, hey, you are the only person possible who can save this other patient of mine. I just need one of your kidneys.
Oh, whoa.
If I say no, nobody can force me, and it ain't murder. It might be mean, might be cruel even, but it's not murder. And in the case of abortion, the ones that actually... Okay, first let's read this. Isn't Frank Turek a fan of the Bible, which is very much pro-murder? Yeah. I mean, it's not pro-murder, it's pro-killing when God says it's okay to kill, and that's not murder, because murder is when you're killing when you're not allowed to kill. Of course, one of the explicitly permitted times when it's okay to kill is when it's okay to kill a fetus that is a result of someone cheating. So, like, abortion's okay sometimes in the Bible. Just saying. But, where was I? I forget where I was going. You distracted me. But that's okay. That happens all the damn time. I'm sure you all could piece together where I was going. We all know the arguments for... Oh, yeah, no. So, the abortions that I would consider to be more morally dubious are the ones that happen when, like, the brain has developed to a point where it starts to become capable of containing consciousness, which, of course, there is no set dividing line for that. It's a gradient. But, like, almost certainly before the third trimester... I guess I can do the octopus hat. So almost certainly before the third trimester, there is nothing in the brain that is developed at this point that is capable of containing consciousness. So it is not a conscious being. So like it's not murder. It's just getting rid of some tissue. But after it's after the third trimester, that's when that starts happening, and that's where it's like, okay, if it's possible to save the baby, then like maybe consider C-section or whatever. Ultimately, still the pregnant person's choice, still their choice. They don't need to submit to surgery for the sake of saving someone else, because bodily autonomy takes precedence. But the thing is, third trimester abortions don't happen because like the person is just like, yeah, no, I decided I don't want to be pregnant anymore. Everything's fine. I just don't want the baby anymore. That is not why anyone gets a third trimester abortion. Like, not only are they an extreme minority of the abortions, like less than 1%, but they're almost always done because of medical necessity. In other words, like, the baby's not viable, and leaving it in there is just going to do more harm than good, so let's just get it out of there. Like, that's what third trimester abortions mostly are. And the ones that aren't that are because Republicans were like, no, we need to make it hard to get abortions, so it's going to take you time to do that, like time that you don't have, and oh, nope, now the baby's too big to abort, sorry. So, like, of the third trimester abortions that are what you might call elective, the reason they got to that stage is because abortion access was limited. So, like, how about you just let abortion be up to the doctors and their patients and don't involve yourselves in that? Just, like, leave it alone. That's what's best for everybody. What's the percentage of miscarriages? You expect me to have that number off the top of my head? Is it 47? Let's say 47. I don't know. That number was a lie. I don't actually know. Wendell says, okay, so first Lilith said Christianity is based on lies and creates people with bigoted values. Wendell replied by saying Christianity is based on Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ is the truth. Do you agree with me or with Lilith? It can be both. I believe that there was an historical person not named Jesus Christ. Yeah, I actually thought as soon as I said 47, I was like, God damn it, I should have said 42. So yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. But yeah, so I do believe that Jesus was an historical person. Now, he would have been named Yeshua, which is actually better translated in English as Josh, and Christ means the anointed one, which to anoint someone is to put like oil on them or whatever. So his name is actually Oily Josh, not Jesus Christ. Be respectful. It's Oily Josh. But yeah, so Oily Josh could really have existed and started what became the religion of Christianity, which is based on lies. And it does it does create people with bigoted values. Look at Frank, Mr. Anti-choice, Mr. Pro-forced birth, trying to take away women's rights. Look at how the evangelicals are supporting Trump. So, yeah, it's both. I agree with both of them. Well, no, I don't agree that Jesus Christ is the truth. I don't even know that that's a coherent statement. What does it mean for a person to be truth? Like, does that mean... So, like, earlier, I said I have Cirrus's tail is up my butt. If that is a true statement, does that mean that Jesus Christ is Cirrus's tail up my butt? Is that what that means? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it means for a person to be truth. That just, it doesn't seem like a coherent statement to me. That seems like one of those Christian platitudes that sounds profound, but doesn't actually make sense when you think about it. And there's a lot of those in Christianity, like, God gives you a new life. Okay, what does that mean exactly? Oh, he makes you a new person. He transforms your nature. Okay, but like, I'm working on a video response to William Lane Craig right now, where like that's the thing, is like it's a video, it's a message to new Christians, and that's like the first thing, is that God gives you a new life. He transforms you. He makes you a better person. He makes you into the Christian that you need to be, or whatever. And then later on in the video is like, oh yeah, but also you still suck, and you're going to fail, and you're going to do badly, and you're going to fall back into old habits, and you're going to do, and it's just like, okay, what happened to the new life thing? What does it mean to have a new life if you're still subject to all this stuff that was in your old life? Like, what? I don't, how does that work? I don't mind that you're stupid, just be consistent. That's not consistent. That's the theme of this stream. That's what I should have called the stream, is I don't care that you're stupid, just be consistent. That's the stream. What do you meme? What do you meme? What do you meme? I don't know. He's actually a nice guy. I've emailed him a couple times. He was going to do a video response to one of the videos that I responded to him of, but then he had a baby and got distracted and never got back to me. I'm kind of sad that he never made a response video to me, but yeah, he seemed like a nice enough guy. But anyway, he says, how is it obvious that Islam is not from Satan? You kill innocent people with the false promise of receiving a perverted man's carnal desires in heaven, 72 virgins, who your wife becomes the queen of. Gross. This was response to someone else who was like, yeah, you get your 72 virgins, but your wife in this life is the queen of those 72 virgins. And to which I say, okay, first off, it's not from Satan, it's just from some horny guy. But, oh, you love my hand motions. You should watch my regular videos. Like, I do so many hand motions because I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm presenting, so I just do everything with my hands. But yeah, so Islam from Satan? No, Satan doesn't exist. It's just from someone that was horny and like the idea of having 72 virgins or whatever. But I'm just thinking, like, so my ideal thing, like, if I'm going for the most fun sex, I don't want virgins. I want people with experience that know what they're doing down there. Because virgins are all, like, clumsy and get grossed out easily and don't know how to do things that I might like to do. So, like, no, I don't want 72 virgins. I want, like, 72 well-traveled ladies. And gentlemen. Let's have both. I'd prefer, like, more ladies than gentlemen, personally. But let's do both. You know what? Chat, all of you. Okay, so I got 150 people on YouTube, 28 people on Twitch. I don't know how many people are watching Cirrus's stream. Let's all just move into a big compound and have, like, big cuddle puddles, sexy time thing. Like, orgies every night. So most of us are experienced, right? Let's have some fun. Can I bring my partner? Yeah, the more the merrier. I'm bringing mine. Okay, that was it. That was it. Oh, and we get Glitchy Cirrus again. There we go. We get to see him die every time I change the camera angle. Not an orgy fan, but I'm happy to watch. You know what? The people that are just watching but not doing anything are an integral part of every orgy. Because some people like to be watched. You can't have the liking to be watched kinked without the people that just like to watch. So go for it. Let's raid Jake so I can get points. Is it duct tape Jake or Jake as in like corn guy? So I'm down for raiding actual Jake. So that's corn guy. Okay, we can raid Jake. I've been remembering to raid people recently, but I've been forgetting to say that I'm raiding people, so raid me at work. Everybody go to duct tape Jake's place of employment. Be like, hey, we're here for Jake. Okay. So yeah, we are done with the stream. I don't really have I can't really talk to a skeleton as end of thing banter, so I'm just going to go now and If you're on Twitch, if you're on my Twitch, I'm gonna raid Jake. If you're on Cirrus's Twitch, the stream's just gonna end because I don't have control. Actually, nope, this is my Twitch. I that's not done through Restream. So yeah, nope, I can't do anything with Cirrus's thing. So yeah, thanks for joining me, everyone. It's been fun. Cirrus, you want to say goodbye to the people? Cirrus? No, he's still napping over there. Okay. Talk to you later.